Vera Stanley Alder, Finding the Third Eye. Dangers in the path. So we'll use this as a reference point relative to the divine aspect of know thyself. That yes, we know ourself, physical self, you know what I mean? We have a nationality, we're Moors, there's a landmass that we can tie ourselves to, there's all these physical things that we can say are what we're going to go by, right? So what we're going to do now is use this to go into the other side that must be balanced with the physical if we're saying that we're this complete being. If we're saying that we're in the right place where we're supposed to be, then that means we're grounded 2 feet firm. Right? Even though we can ground ourselves 1 foot firm, you know what I mean? 2 feet firm just adds 1 extra. You know what I mean? It helps out. The discovery of truth is most wonderful, powerful, and helpful work that any human being can undertake. And the capacity to understand it is the greatest attribute which the mind can cultivate. To attain this inestimable reward of wisdom, man must expect and be eager to go through at least as much discipline, study, and restriction as he would endure while learning the piano or training as a boxer. He must remember also that the uncovering of truth, there is never a last word, nor a completely accurate statement about any particle of it, because neither the human language nor brain can encompass it. Truth to anyone is only that much of it which he can yet understand. Truth to anyone is only that much of it which he can yet understand. At a certain stage, even an untruth may be taught. For instance, primitive nations had to be given a jealous god of war until they evolved sufficiently to accept a loving god of peace. The mind must be trained, just like a muscle, to cope with certain conceptions, and this very training enlarges and expands the capacity to understand still more. After a period of such training, one can explain to an intelligent person something which he would have been quite incapable of visualizing at the beginning of it. It would have been impossible to talk of wireless, the telephone, or gramophone to a man 200 years ago. Neither his brain nor language was equal to it. He was living in the Dark Age. But to one of the wise priests of Egypt, living 10,000 years ago, one could have talked of these inventions and probably obtained a few suggestions. To understand the fundamental truths of life is to understand all. Those are the truths which Christ said would make us free. The first effort of the seeker, then, must be to avoid laziness and to love honesty and discipline. Right? So that goes to Noble Dwali, that all Moors are active, not passive. All Moors are active. And like we tell people, active doesn't mean you have some court case going on. Active means that you're doing something to assist in the uplifting acts of waking up our people. If you got something going on in court, good. Get some practice in, right? When once we are attuned to this ideal, we will be enabled to distinguish a wise and good person from a charlatan, and so avoid an infinite number of delusions and dangers. Right? Once we are attuned to this ideal, which is avoiding laziness, right? Because when you vibrate on the frequency of study, study, study as a mantra, right? Study, study, study. You will be expanding your mind so that when people bring futile things to you, like talking about, you should come and join their nation because RVB is not a nation, they're a publication and they shouldn't be given nationality cards because they're not a nation. But then when you look at the nationality card that you get through RVB publications, you realize RVB publications' name isn't even on it. Which means that it didn't come from them. Whose name's on it? The Moorish nation. Right? On top of that, the people who are telling you that, their position is prime minister of some nation and that you should go join their nation, right? They're saying $103 for the card, whereas RVB is saying 50 notes. Right? Again, like, why spend 103? You can spend 50. Like, what do they got more than RVB publications that you rather give the extra 53 to them? What do they got? What have they done? What type of record could they show? Like, we can go to Moorish Nation Public Records and see records that people who use RVB publications as their university, as a representative of their nation, that they went to them and then they showed people what they did with the information they got from there on Moorish Nation Public Records to prove that, they're at least doing something with the information and nobody else could show anything. Nobody else can give you a clear example as to this is what happened and then this was the outcome. Only people who do that are active Moors. Because active Moors aren't trying to sell this. Active Moors aren't trying to make people not know all this information for themselves. We're not playing we have more information than somebody else. This belongs to everybody. And everybody has an obligation to themselves to hear something that they hear a Moor say, and you never heard that before, I will go check that out. Don't think that was just, something said because there was a lecture or a class or whatever, right? Once we are attuned to this ideal, we will be enabled to distinguish a wise and good person from a charlatan and so avoid an infinite number of delusions and dangers. The hallmarks of the wise are easily distinguished. The hallmarks of the wise are easily distinguished. You can't confuse a wise man with a charlatan. Like, it's not possible. If somebody confuses a wise man with a charlatan, something's wrong with that individual's mindset. Why? Because wisdom gives humility, peace, poise, and strength. Its owner ceases to be afraid, to be rushed, sickly, worried, ambitious, emotional, sentimental, or changeable. His voice is resonant, neither thrill nor grating, and his presence is never exhausting. A truly wise one will be sparing of words, nor will he loosely speak of initiations, masters, visions, guides, or his own powers. A true wise one will be sparing of words, nor will he loosely speak of initiations, masters, visions, guides, or his own powers. So as soon as they start talking about all that stuff, they got titles and all that. Charlatan. So they start talking about, see this coin? And go behind your ear and pull out nationality card and stuff like that. Don't go for it. Don't go for it. Right? A wise one will never ask for money for teaching spiritual things. RVB Publications. Information at your fingertips. Go on that website, you'll be there for a few years. All for nothing. All you have to do is the first law about not being lazy. Once you're not lazy, you go on RVB and you free yourself. Because the information is free for anybody who wants to know more than what they think they know. A wise one will never ask for money for teaching spiritual things. It is against the law. He will have reached the stage where money sufficient for his needs comes without asking. That's how you know a true wise one. Nor will he ever try to persuade anyone to do or think anything, nor will he attempt to teach unless earnestly asked to do so. For he has learned to have the greatest care for another's free will. A wise one seldom uses the word I. He will never attack anyone or any cause, yet he is full of strength and energy. He has learned to be wise as a serpent and harmless as a dove. He is not a crank on any one subject. He has become a reservoir of love and constructive thought, that he is a worker of white magic, luckily to those around him and the bringer of miracles to pass. Such a one is he who has for some while faithfully trodden the path of discipleship which leads to godhood. He passes unnoticed among all those who are not seeking with the same purity of motive, the same vibration as his own. He is sometimes very cleverly apt by the charlatan, or he who tries to serve both God and Mammon, the worker of black magic, the bogus spiritual teacher. The finding of the third eye. Vera Stanley Alden. Any questions or comments on that? Right.